So this might be it in terms of the debate stage of this race. The only debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump is about 48 hours
But
away.
who's counting? Who's counting? Doug Luzader joining us from Washington this morning. Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
This really feels like a sprint right now, not a marathon. Assuming somehow this debate doesn't fall apart at the last second, how have these two candidates been prepping for it?
Yeah, I guess we can't rule that out, can we? Yeah, you know, it's very different from a style standpoint in terms of how they're getting ready for this debate. The former president's campaign team is kind of discounting the notion of debate preps, you know, suggesting that Trump has, you know, been there, done that. He's debated at this level a number of times before, which is true. And he's been out of the campaign trail. He had this big rally in Wisconsin over the weekend. Vice President Kamala Harris is engaged in much more traditional debate prep. She's kind of holed up in this hotel in Pittsburgh. She's going to Philadelphia, I think, today. But she is spending hours, it sounds like, going through the motions of the debate. The New York Times kind of chronicled it a little bit, indicating that they've built a mock-up of a set. She has a sparring partner, and she's really preparing intensely for this matchup tomorrow night.
Yeah, and when we talk about preparation, let's go a little bit deeper into maybe some of the techniques here. We've heard from so many of the surrogates on either side talk about what each candidate needs to do. What do we expect from them?
Yeah, you know, it's funny, the kind of the expectations game that everyone seems to be playing here. The Trump campaign kind of shrugging this off to some degree. The Harris campaign saying, oh, well, former President Trump's an amazing debater. So the cards are kind of stacked against Harris on this. But, you know, what they need to do is connect. I mean, that's the biggest thing, and not mess up. You know, I heard somebody say over the weekend that the maxim about presidential debates is you can't win an election in one, but you can sure lose one. And we saw what happened with President Biden, for instance, in the first debate. So the key is, if you're going to have a viral moment, don't make it a bad one. And you know, I think that's going to be probably the important thing for both candidates, is to just not mess up, have a clean performance, and try to get in some zingers if you can, even though there's, you know, the microphones are going on and off through the course of the debate.
I know that folks on both sides and all kinds of onlookers are saying that the economy is far and away the #1 issue that Americans care about. This is a topic that President Trump, based on all the polls, is leading on. How might be a strategy that Vice President Harris could get through to vote? You know, you mentioned just connecting with the audience on this. How does she connect on this topic?
Well, you know, the Biden-Harris administration is clearly frustrated, I think, about the lack of respect that they think the economy is getting. They think the economy is doing pretty well. There are a number of indicators that are, you know, looking pretty positive for the economy. The inflation rate has come down substantially, but we're all still paying higher prices, and that's something that Harris is going to have to acknowledge, while also stressing some underlying strengths for the economy. But you're right. I mean, this is the #1 issue for voters, and it's one that clearly favors former President Trump.
Yeah, when you go to the gas station, you're like, oh, it's better, and still not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Doug.